Levels are really bad. Let's try that again. Hello! Excuse me. Hope everyone's doing okay. I thought that was enough time waiting. I was trying to get us set up for our fun little presentation today. And I'm really hoping you guys will enjoy. It's made with a lot of love. So let me just make sure my setup looks correct here. Make sure things are working. How are y'all doing? How are your days going? I'd love to know. Okay. Alrighty. So I am so glad you could be here for this presentation because I will be going over the lore of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I thought the best way to start kind of talking about this is with this lovely header of I want this twink obliterated, right? And I'm not using the word like derogatorily, I'm using it mostly in a humor sense, so Twitch, please don't like ban my account or anything because this was already kind of risky, but you know what, might as well try it, right? But anyways, I want this twink obliterated. And of course I put Ganon in the background because he would be the one that's saying this. Let me see if I have it go. No, it's not showing up correctly. Okay, well it's fine. I'll just show it like this. Or maybe I can do like presenter view? Alright. Okay, cool. So yeah, I have Ganon here because he is the main baddie who wants the quote twink obliterated. And now, for those of us wondering, who is involved in the story of both just the Legend of Zelda as a whole, as a franchise, and also with this particular game? So like I mentioned, here's our baddie, and his name is Ganondorf. But it's important to note that it's not just Ganon, but Ganondorf, because Ganon is like his shorter name, or it's like his like nickname. And I'm going to be doing a separate stream on like the entire lore of Zelda, but basically Ganondorf is the human form of the Demon King, Ganon. And so the reason I put here Ganondorf aka Demon King is because with this game, they're actually bringing back Ganon the Demon King as like the evil entity, not just Ganondorf, the human incarnation himself. So that's why I kind of went ahead and put both. But technically the guy on the screen is Ganondorf, the human incarnation of the Demon King. And also Demon Daddy, because do you see him? Obvious, right? So he's our main baddie, and he is the main baddie of the entire Zelda franchise. He does not always show up in all the games, but everyone knows him as the main villain. You've probably heard him once or twice before, and he's not going away anytime soon, unfortunately, because that's how the legend works, hence the Legend of Zelda. And I guess to touch on that really quickly, since I don't have the other lore stream out yet, and if you're not familiar with the lore, basically the Legend of Zelda is that these three characters, Ganon, like the evil spirit, Zelda, the princess, and Link, the hero, are always stuck in, like, throughout all of time in this battle of good versus evil. And it's always or I wasn't say the three of them against each other, but it's more so Zelda and Link always against Ganon. But I went ahead and introduced Ganon, but now we gotta talk about the next part of the legend, and it's, you already know who it is. Bam. Her. The beauty, the legend herself. She is the legend. She always was the legend and will continue to be the legend. Okay? So this is our baddie, Zelda. And as you can see, I'm very passionate about her because clearly there's so much to love about her. And so she's my girlfriend. She's beautiful, amazing, lovely. Her hair smells nice. Like, you just already know. And so she is the princess and one of the main protagonists in this game. Even though technically you don't get to play her, she is still very important and crucial to the story. And I will get into the plot in a little bit, but I want to introduce the characters. So this is her. We love her. We'll always love her. We'll always need her. And yeah. And then continuing on with this game specifically, we have what are called the champions. And so I'll get into a little bit of the lore of the champions in a minute. But basically, it's these three characters. Do I have. Wait. Wonder if I could, like. You can't see my pointer. Anyways, okay. Well, basically, these are technically four, but. Yeah, he didn't get his own official art. And it's a little rude, but basically, these four are the representatives of their respective regions of Hyrule, and Hyrule is like the main land or like the main kingdom that this like the story always takes place on. And these four are the new champions because they are the new leaders of these regions. And so the one on the very left, the little bird guy, his name is Tulin, and he is. I mean, he's not technically the leader, but he's the son of the leader of the bird people, which are called the Rito. I'm going to be using a lot of words, and a lot of them are new. So definitely, like, stop me if it's getting to be too much. But, yeah. So we have Tulin on the left. He's the son of the leader of the Rito people. Then we have in the middle Sidon, and if you guys have kept up with, like, Zelda or Breath of the Wild or any kind of, like, fan art or any of that, you will know Sidon is incredible. He's the fish boy. We love him. He's very charismatic. I would have like entire slides on each of these individuals, but of course I'm trying to keep things concise. So he is the prince of the fish people, essentially, or known as the Zora. Well, the thing is, he's the prince, but in this game, he's actually the king. So like, promotion, yay. But that also means his dad died, so boo. But promotion, yay. And he's leading the Zora. And then moving on to the lovely lady on the right, holding the two swords. Her name is Riju, and she is currently, I believe, the queen of the Gerudo people. And the Gerudo people are, they're basically desert dwellers. And they have a very, I don't know what the right term would be, but yeah, they're like desert people, so they have like very light clothing and like live in the sand and have sand structures and all this stuff. They ride seals in this, or like sand seals, and it's really cute. And yeah, but fun fact to know is that with the Gerudo people, they are always born as women. And this is because, as part of, I guess, like a separate legend, but related to the Legend of Zelda, the Gerudo only ever have one male that is born every 100 years. And guess who that male happens to be? You've already met him. Ganon, or I guess you could say Ganondorf. He is a male Gerudo, and he is the one that is born every 100 years. And he usually is the one, or anytime a male Gerudo is born, he usually gets all this like pomp and circumstance, and gets to be the king of them because, oh my god, like we finally have a male after 100 years. So in a lot of the games, that's how he ends up coming to power, because he takes advantage of that respect. And so it seems like in parts of what I've seen of the new game, it seems like he does that too. So I think that's quite interesting. But yeah, so he's Gerudo. And going back to our very last champion, who doesn't have his own official art for whatever reason, his name is Yunobu, and he is the leader of the Goron people, which are like these rock people. And they live up in the Elden Volcano, or no, it's usually in the Elden region, but up in Death Mountain, which is usually a volcano. Yeah. And he looks a little funky here because of the story. Like he's got like the luchadore mask, which is cool, but it has to do with the story. But we'll get into that in a minute. So, yeah, these are the new champions. But I say they're the new ones because we do have the old ones, which are these guys right here. And I guess just kind of going in a similar order, the guy on the very left is obviously leader of the bird people. The little fish girl on the very right is used to be, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna get into that. So she used to be the leader of the fish people, the Zora people. The tall lady on like the left center, was the previous leader of the Gerudo people. And then the big old guy in the background with the white hair, that's Daruk, and he used to lead the Goron people. And so I'm saying used to in past tense for all of these because they're dead. Besides the fact that like time has passed since Breath of the Wild, the first game, they died basically before the first game, because going into the lore of Breath of the Wild, they actually used to help serve the princess for the eventual rise of Ganon, which didn't happen yet but was getting there, and so they were all preparing for it. And the way that they prepared for it was by basically, they're called champions because they're like the best representatives of their people. I mean, obviously, because like they're like leading their people or whatever. Anyways, they're like the best representatives of their people to have the strength to represent their people and utilize their power to lead these machines called divine beasts. And so here are three, or I guess you can see the fourth one in the background. But these are the divine beasts. And basically they take advantage of this ancient technology called Sheikah technology, which I'll get to in a minute, that basically powers the machines and like tons of other things throughout the Hyrulean kingdom. And they were used to help, or they were meant to be used to help with the attack against Ganon once he eventually rose. But the issue is, when he did rise, I don't have a good slide on this, he eventually actually corrupted all of the Sheikah technology and turned it against everyone, which is how we basically got Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild was dealing with the aftermath of Ganon. Okay, so like, not like Ganon, let's say Ganon the evil spirit, not Ganondorf the human, because he wasn't in the first game, but Ganon the evil spirit came back, and he turned all these machines against their owners, which was Hyrule and like the kingdom and royalty and such. And then the events of Breath of the Wild are basically dealing with the aftermath of him using his evil demon power to basically take over Hyrule. But anyways, going back to the Sheikah, so the Sheikah are actually a tribe that were meant to protect the royal family of Hyrule. And so the people shown in like the bottom left, they're villages, or they're villagers of the Sheikah village, which is Kakariko village. And so they themselves are not like, I guess you could say like Sheikah followers, but more like descendants. So that's the kind of garb that they wear. And yeah, so like they're like descendants of the people that would protect the royal family, but there's like a limited number of people that like actually serve the family currently, and so they look different. They actually have like their own armor, which is what we see on the right side of the screen with Link in his special Sheikah gear. And so this also increases your stealth because they're ninjas. So it's pretty cool. And so part of the technology also is what you can see, that tower towards like the middle right. That is one of the old technologies that existed in Hyrule that, honestly, the Sheikah technology was kind of confusing because it's like an ancient technology, but it's also like new and modern. And because the thing is, those towers in the first game helped you teleport, so I don't exactly know, like, well, also they disappear in the second game, which is like a really big point of controversy, because people want to know, like, where the heck did all the Sheikah technology go, because it was literally scattered throughout the entire game for the first one, and so now we see none of it in the second, and it's like, I wonder why. That's suspicious. That's weird. But anyways, so yeah, there were instances of Sheikah technology like this tower that were used when Ganon, or that basically Ganon took advantage of. And so yeah, and also that purple symbol in like the top left of the screen is like the Sheikah symbol, which is why it's also on Link's armor. But yeah, so all of this to try to get through the characters. They need a lot of context, but now getting into the man of the hour, Link, or the hero, or Linky Poo, or Lunk. So we have our main, he's like the main protagonist always, because he's the only playable character. And the creator of Zelda actually like hates the idea of a playable Zelda, but you know what? That's something I'm willing to debate because I think it would be incredible to see. But anyway, so yeah, this is Link, and this is his like outfits for the game, or like his different designs. And so, what's most important to note, besides the fact that he's half naked in the first one, is the fact that he has this like, at least, yeah, his right arm is like different in the sense of like on the left it's like black, but on the right it's like blue and glowing and magical and stuff. And it's like, that's weird, that's suspicious. Why? And so I'll get into that in a minute once we get into the lore of like why we're playing this game, what's happening, what's going on. But we have to introduce our hero. And so basically the context of this game is he goes up to really high places and then he falls from them. And where does he fall, you may ask? Well, he falls in Hyrule, which is like the kingdom, as I mentioned. And we're basically trying to go back to what's in the circle here, which is Hyrule Castle. And that's obviously the castle where like royalty is and stuff. But we'll get into context of like why it's flying in the air in a minute. But yeah, some more on Hyrule. This is basically like the map. There's different sections like Eldin, Neclida, Lanayru, Central Hyrule, Hebra, and then you can't see it in the left, but I think it's just generally called Gerudo, so named after the people. But this is what the map looks like, and it's, I think, honestly identical to the Breath of the Wild map, except for the fact that they included 2 layers, so not only do you play on like ground level, but then you can also play in the sky. And this is an example of one of the sky islands, and then in the like below ground. And this is an example of one of the areas in what's called the depths, which is the underground. And so the depths are pretty scary because it's actually all like completely dark. There's no light, and so you have to basically walk around in the dark trying to light up different areas so that you can explore what's underneath Hyrule. And so now getting into like the meat and potatoes of to like why we're even doing all of this. And so this is getting into the main lore of the new game. And so of course spoilers ahead, but here we see what I like to call dehydrated Ganon, and it's the same Ganondorf we saw at the beginning. However, he is obviously dehydrated, bony, old. And you can see that he's being held down by this like glowing hand. And that glowing hand looks a lot like Link's. Ain't that suspicious? Well, we'll get to it. But basically, this hand is holding dehydrated Ganon down. And once we start up Tears of the Kingdom, we have Link and Zelda venturing into the depths of Hyrule Castle. And this is where we see that Ganon is being held by this arm. And I'm not sure what the triggering factor is, but the minute that we walk up to it, the hand lets go of Ganon and like all hell breaks loose, because then he knows our names and it's freaky, and he starts like basically a new attack on Hyrule, but as his like pure form instead of like another form that he was in Breath of the Wild. And so he's doing crazy shit, even like breaking the Master Sword, which has like never happened before. And so you basically can't play a majority of the game without the Master Sword, even though you worked for it and earned it in the first one. So it's pretty tragic. And also you lose your arm, which is a big deal. And that's why we have a new arm, a new right arm, because how the Master Sword broke actually is when basically Ganon launched like a attack towards Zelda, and Link, as Zelda's protector, tried to like hit the attack with the sword. So it damaged not only the sword but also his arm in the process. So he lost his arm, but it got replaced with that hand that was holding Ganon down. And like, that's weird, that's suspicious, but we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But also the reason, like, I also think part of the triggering factor as to like why all hell is now breaking loose as opposed to earlier is also because of this little shiny guy. And this is called a tear, hence the Tears of the Kingdom. And this tear was found in, or this one in particular, I believe it was in Ganondorf's like crown, and it like fell off, and Zelda got a hold of it. And so then when he launched his attack or whatever, she like started falling, but she had that in her hand, and then she like teleported away, which was crazy. Because now we're introducing time travel, because why not? So now that we have time travel, we actually go back in time and meet the first king and queen of Hyrule, which is this bisexual couple right here, right? There's Sonia and Rauru. Sonia is the lady on the left, Rauru is the beast-looking thing on the right. And before anyone comes at me like, oh, he's a goat man, he's not a goat man. He's a descendant of dragons, okay? And you'll see how that's evident in a minute. But yeah, so he's a descendant of dragon people, and these are the first people, or like the first royal family of Hyrule. And it's like, whoa, like time travel, why is Zelda like meeting them and all this stuff? And it's because she actually gets trapped back in time and basically uncovers the fact that there was this whole other civilization before Hyrule called the Zonai people, which is what Rauru is to the right. And so these Zonai also had their own forms of ancient technology, which is what we see here. And so this is another big premise of the game, in that you can build all kinds of things. Like, you can build these cars, you can build things that fly, but you also encounter both enemies and not enemies, as you can see in the top right, that are also Zonai technology powered, right? And so that kind of explains like the building in the game and how the technology is working this time around, since it's different from the Sheikah technology. And then going more into like the deep story of like, well, what about Zelda? Like, you're telling me she just like disappeared? Isn't the game literally named after her? Well, yeah. So when she does teleport back in time, she basically ends up learning that there's basically like absolutely no way they would be able to defeat Ganon the second time around, unless the Master Sword was powered up to the fullest extent before it was given to the Hero of Time, aka Link. So, because Zelda has like holy powers, also forgot to mention, she is the incarnate, or like direct incarnation of Hylia, the goddess, hence why she has powers. And so that also goes more into Zelda lore, which I'll get into another time. But she has this power, and so she has, I guess it's called specifically in this game, like time and light power. And so she decides to utilize this light power in order to imbue the Master Sword with more power to make it stronger to defeat Ganon. And so, in order for her to do that, basically, one thing leads to another, and actions and consequences, and she becomes a dragon. So, yeah, and it's pretty tragic. When I saw this, I cried. Obviously, my explanation was not as good as like the actual execution in game with like the story, but it's really beautiful, and yeah, it's very powerful. I wanted to go ahead and just like sit and watch the videos together, but I think it'll be more useful maybe if I just make like a compilation video of all of it together. But I wanted to go a little bit more into depth of like what all was happening in this game. So I was going to leave the end for questions if anyone had any. But yeah, this is my, I guess you could say like abridged presentation on Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Not very long at all. I kind of expected that there would be more questions, but I guess it was straightforward. And yeah, so I guess since there's no questions, I'll probably just move on to playing the game itself, and yeah, I'll probably go back and like edit this or something. But yeah, so thanks for watching, And I guess now I will move on to actual gameplay. So give me a minute while I do that. I'll get some music going though, so it's not like as bad with me just sitting here in silence. Okay, hi. I'll probably keep this on in the background since it's not a bad idea. Just to fill some like empty noise, but go ahead and get the game going, hopefully. Honestly, wait, I can't even hear my game with it. Yeah, I might have to turn it off. That's okay. Because we got our game. So let me get that fixed. Apologies for not being super seamless in my transitions, but I'm trying. I wonder why I can't hear it. think it's working. But if not, always let me know. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I may actually do some actual story today. I think that'd be nice. Oh, I should change my stream info. Okay. Actually, I would like to get some music going. I changed my mind. I'm gonna do that. Just really, really quickly. Thanks for understanding. Okay, cool. So I don't remember where I left off, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Oh yeah, so yesterday I got attacked by a Yiga, which is not fun, but expected with this game. What else? I was gonna go check out the Great Fairy over there, but I have to find the flautist. And he said over by Highland Stable, but I don't remember where that is. So I was taking my horsey to just ride around and figure it out. So I gotta go back to my horsey. It'd be so funny if Highland Stable is the other way. It probably is. It probably is. Let's just explore. Why not?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the other way. I'll turn you around. Oh, music's bothering me, so I think I'm gonna turn it off. That's not decisive. I have to unplug it for a minute. too excited. Just barely. Alright, give me money.
Whoa!
I keep forgetting what I'm doing. I'm looking for Highland Stable. Where's my puppy?
Ho ho! Ha! Oh! Ho ho!
Surprised at how barren this area is. I thought there would be more.
Yeah! Oh! Ho ho! Ha! Oh!
I don't know why it's reminding me of like
Ha!
the little stone circles.
Ho ho! Oh!
On the lookout for Selena. See, I'm not going all right now for this flautist. At this point, oh yeah, I think we're well past where I thought he was. It's no worries. Alright. Alright, well, we're not really going anywhere. Oh, wait. If we turn around, we could go check out Musical's treasure.
Yeah! Ho ho! Oh!
This way? Yeah.
Ho ho! Yeah! Oh! Ho ho! Oh!
Interesting. Spooky. I don't trust you. Here you go.
Yeah!
This is coffee.
Ho ho! Ha! Oh. Oh. Ha. Ha. Oh, oh. Ha. Oh.
Oh wait, wasn't this the old Highland stable? They changed their name, right?
Yeah. Ah. Mm.
Oh my god, that looks just like my horse.
Oh. Hmm. 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 Well. Huh.
Oh, oh. Oh. Oh, oh.
Alright, we should be right here.
Oh.
I still don't understand what these guys are called, likes. It's weird. That's crazy.
Yup.
Am I supposed to? Oh, I think I'm supposed to get over them. Dude, you took my shit. Kingdom Combat. Horowitz. It's just special. Oh, it's just gross. Maybe not. Yeah. Right, so where's this treasure? Just say it was in a cave. I remember. So it should be right here. Maybe above the cave. Okay, guess not. Is there something I have to do? I feel like there's something I'm not seeing. It's supposed to be exactly right here. I got to the end of the cave, so... I was waiting for the waterfall. I'm thinking I might actually end stream there for now. But thanks to those that watched. And I'll be back another time. Bye.